Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm going to talk about spread in Battlefield and whether we need it or not. And I'm with majority of the people who says we need spread in the game. With that kill right there, in 2042 he would have died instantly. We need a time gap for the gunfights in this game unless you're in a position where you can't really do anything and you should die in that specific moment. But whether, but in a face-on-face sense, we should have a bit of a time gap just to see like if the skill gap for the competitive, casual, pro, whatever is able for that game and whether whatever distance, for weapons for weapons that's full auto or semi-auto. Snipers, you shouldn't be a sniper from far away, with a assault rifle. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't seem good in that sense either. So yeah, we need spread in Battlefield. So 2042 on release, they had guns that they had every gun, assault, SMGs, DMRs, even pistols that can shoot from a far away distance at any range and hit with no spread, nothing. So I think the spread gives a sense of an a work a work towards the kills that you get in the game. You have to work for your kill in Battlefield, in my opinion, because cheap kills and just sitting in the back of the map with an AR and not really having the ability to spread your weapon or needing to spread your weapon. I don't really think you know guns are even good for that sense anyway. Probably the reason why 2042 didn't really have any guns, you know, because all the guns shot the same, and in that sense, when when the nerf happened for all the guns and destroy all the weapons, it didn't really work because it did not have spread. The only thing they could have done was implement visual recoil because I don't know what Dice was doing. My sense is that they didn't have enough time adding spread in certain weapons or whatnot because it was releasing Battlefield after Battlefield. It takes a little bit of time to do that, but you know, they had no spread, in any of the weapons. No bloom, no spread, whatever. Visual recoil is something that should not be implemented into the game. That type of visual recoil for the sight, right? To make your gun shake so you can have a sense of what you need to how you need to patternize the person who's moving around on your screen. Yes, that's a good sense of you know accomplishment in the game, and I think it should still be in the game as well. The sight moving, because probably the sight moves in real life. Who knows? I don't It don't really matter to me right now. But spread and bloom is something, again, that should stay in Battlefield. It is Battlefield's thing. Battlefield, we are not Call of Duty right now. Even though we probably have some similar aspects of the game, there's still aspects that should be kept Battlefield, strictly Battlefield. Call of Duty did not have no type of spread in their weapons at all. It's probably where they got that shooting from far away with an assault rifle and pistol from. We need bloom. We can't have everything so easy in the game, you know, because easiness in the game doesn't exactly resemble funness, even for casual players. They can potentially say that the game is boring because every gun feels the same. That's 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 just my take and what I hear from, you know, or see from messages from people who, casuals who say games are bad for that specific reason, right? So you really need a sense of accomplishment in the guns that you're shooting, you know, and a sense of challenge. No gun should be able to shoot the same than another gun. Yes, it can be the same, for certain weapons or some weapons, whatever. But for all weapons to be able to shoot directly straight without any, you know, lift off of your finger on the mouse or on your controller or whatnot, that's not really a good thing for a good feature for the game. It's not good. It's really not. It's not. And that's where it comes down to, having something to work towards. People can choose they one single weapon, or on a day that they're not really in a special sense for that weapon, and that weapon of spread pattern, they can change their weapon to see if it matches their spread pattern for that day. You know, like sometimes I might feel off on a day of using a certain weapon and try to, you know, remember the spread pattern, because probably I don't care at that moment, or probably I'm like, you know, being a bee about, oh, I can't hit any shots. And then I can go to a different weapon and have like a easier spread pattern because, sometimes some people's muscle memory knows spread patterns more than another gun than that gun. So having a sense of accomplishment and challenge for certain weapons, and not just having everybody use the same weapon back to back to back, even in competitive even in a competitive play, with the people who play in those tournaments and whatnot, you just see like the same weapons, right? No variety, nothing that, has a sense of, I keep saying sense, but has a icon for that player. Every player, likes their icon of a choice of the weapon, like Battlefield 4's AK. That gun was powerful. Everybody used that gun because it was potentially an icon of a gun. And it potentially had like an OP spread pattern, right? And everybody used that gun. But and I'm not going to speak for everybody, but certain people like a sense of their icon of choice and weapon, you know, or weapons, because some people like having a slow spread that you have to try to control, semi-automatically, you know, semi-auto. And I'm saying semi-automatically, not in the sense of semi-auto weapons. I'm just talking about like maybe like a 400 through 600 RPM that has like a difficult spread pattern against one that has a like two of those type of weapons RPM have a different type of spread pattern, and you have to try to utilize which one is better for your suitability. One couldn't affect your pattern just like the other person could affect theirs. So I think a sense of versatility in shooting the weapons and having a sense of challenge in the guns you're shooting is a good implement to the game, because Battlefield, y'all had it in the start of your franchise. Y'all really need to keep that in the game and not have every gun shoot the same way and in the same length of, you know, killing time, for the people, for the opponents and the people that's, playing the game. So that's what I think about the spread in the game. Is you really should have spread. I don't see why people would want no spread in the game, because that equals no challenge. And then I said this before, people will get bored of the game because every gun shoots the same. And that's just like, why are we having different weapons? We would just all use the same gun, you know? So it doesn't really, affect the gameplay anyway. We should have guns that affect the gameplay. That's my thoughts and my take on it. And I feel like it's justifiable. And other people, I want to see if other people agree or disagree, because I'll probably see all points and be open-minded to all positions of why they do not want, spread and game bloom, whatever. But I do go against visual recoil and, you know, no spread in the game, just laser beam weapons. I go against those. So that's all I'm gonna say for this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe the video. So I'm out.